Hi guys, so let's go ahead and continue solving another fun system. So we have talked about how to solve a system of equations by graphing, substitution. Let's go ahead and do one by elimination. Okay, so use the elimination method to solve a system of equations. So the question is, how does that work? Okay, to solve a system of equations by eliminations, the first thing we need to do is make sure all the equations are in standard form. So a gentle reminder, an equation is said to be an equation in two variables. A linear equation in two variables is said to be in standard form if it looks like this: ax plus by equals c. So like English, variables on one side, constant on the other, and it's implied that we have integer coefficients. So like no fractions, no decimals. So let's look at the first equation and see if it's in standard form. Well, it's in standard form-ish. So like the x and y, we switch them. The second equation is also not in standard form. So let me go ahead and make two columns because I like to write vertically. We're going to write each equation one at a time, of course, and make our columns. Negative 8x equals 14 minus 6y. What are we going to do? We're going to write each equation in standard form. So the first equation, we do have the variables on one side, constant on the other, but we need to have x, y equals numbers. So we'll put the 4x first. 3y is negative, so we'll put minus 3y equals 18. Cool. It's in standard form, so we're good. The second equation is not in standard form. We want x, y equals constant. Variables on one side, numbers on the other. Let's go ahead, add 6x. Let's go ahead, add 6y to both sides. To undo the subtraction by 6y, let's go ahead, add it to both sides. So that will leave us with negative 8x plus 6y equals 14. Fantastic. First equation standard form, second equation standard form. So what are we gonna do? Let's go ahead, bring the equations together to form a system. So we have 4x minus 3y equals 18, and then the second equation, negative 8x plus 6y equals 14. Okay, so how do we solve a system equations by elimination or addition method, depending on the book that we're using? Our first goal is to write all the equations in standard form. Done. Okay, our second goal is to pick a variable to eliminate. Okay, once you have decided, fix it so the coefficients are opposite. Okay, so this is how it's gonna go down. I don't really care if you decide to eliminate the x or eliminate the y. It's really your personal choice. But I'm going to tell you how I make the call. Okay, I was trying to find my bookmarker, but my fingers it is. If I wanted to eliminate the x's, what would the coefficients have to look like? The least common multiple between 4 and 8 is 8. So if I wanted to knock out the x's, I will need to fix it so one of the coefficients is positive 8 and the other coefficient is negative 8. So I'm working with 8's. Now, what would the numbers have to look like if I wanted to knock out the y's instead? The least common multiple between 3 and 6 is 6. So if I wanted to knock out the y's, I will need to fix it so one coefficient on y is positive 6 and the other one is negative 6. So this is my train of thought. Do I want to work with 8 or do I want to work with 6? I don't really care, but I'm trying to work with small numbers. So again, do I want to work with 8 or do I want to work with 6? I'm going to work with 6. Okay, so I'm going to put a little love note. I'm going to say eliminate y. Okay, so we had established that the least common multiple between 3 and 6 is 6. So we want to fix it so one coefficient on y is positive 6 and another coefficient on y is negative 6. Sometimes we already have one of the desired coefficients and sometimes we don't have either one. So in this case, I'm lucky that we have one of the desired coefficients. So let me go ahead, check it off. Let's work on getting the negative 6. So I'm like, okay, what are we gonna multiply the negative 3 by to make it look like negative 6? Oh, I know, multiply it by 2. So let's do this. Multiply the top equation by 2. So when we multiply the top equation by 2, that will leave us with 8x. So 2 times 4x is 8x. Next product, 2 times negative 3y is negative 6y. And 18 times 2, who has a calculator? That's 4036. Sorry, that's how I multiply. Okay, and we weren't doing anything to the bottom one. So we have negative 8x plus 6y equals 14. So before we move forward, let's make sure that we did what we said we wanted to do. We wanted to eliminate y, and since the least common multiple between the coefficients, namely 3 and 6, is 6, we wanted to fix it so one coefficient on y was positive 6 and the other one was negative 6. We already had one of the desired coefficients. We needed to work our magic to get the other one, and we nailed it. We got a positive 6y, we have a negative 6y, so that means that since the coefficients are opposite, we have the green light to move on to the next step. Once the coefficients are opposite, then we're going to go ahead and add the equation. So I put the word add for dramatic effect. We're going to add in a vertical column format. Okay. So when we add the equations, the y should cancel out. Why? Because we had said let's eliminate the y. So the y's cancel out, but unfortunately it didn't want to go down by itself. Okay, so in this case the x is also canceled out. It happens. So when we add the equations, the y's cancel, the x's cancel, so we're left with 0 equals 40, 50. So I'm having a moment because I was hoping to have like variable equals a number, but it happens. Okay, so when we're solving a system of equations, whether it's substitution or elimination, if the variables cancel out, I need you to stop and ask yourself, do we have a true or false statement? Okay, T or F. I don't need to see this for credit. I just need to see the answer. I'm like, okay, do I have a true or false statement? I'm like, does 0 equal 50? No, 0 does not equal 50. Okay, so if the variables cancel out and we ended up with the false statement, then this means that the system has no solution. Okay, so if there's no solution, that means there's no solution. So there's no way we could have found it like an x equals something and a y equals something. Alright guys, I think we're done with this problem, but don't worry, if you keep looking at the playlist, we're going to have another problem that actually has a solution. We would just cut short. Thanks.